Every October, I make sure to always play at least one Castlevania game. With so many games in the series, sometimes it can be hard to choose which one to play. I own quite a few Castlevania games, and to be honest, I haven't even played all of them. Should I run through the original Castlevania for the 100th time? Or shall I finally get around to beating Circle of the Moon? Or should I scrap both of those and play Dawn of Sorrow for the first time? Yeah, I've never played it. It's been on the backlog for many years. What is going on, everyone? RonMan here as always, and with Castlevania on my mind, I decided to make a video where I share my top 5 Castlevania games. I'd like to point out that this isn't a list of the best Castlevania games necessarily, but rather just a list of the games that I like the most. Also, if you're new here and you like my content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as well as that bell notification so you stay up to date with RonMan Gaming. Okay, starting off the list and coming in at number 5 is Castlevania Bloodlines. This is the very first Castlevania to ever appear on a Sega console, and they really did hit a home run with this title. As you start a new game, you have the option to pick one of two characters, John Morris or Eric Lecard. John Morris has the iconic whip, and his traditional playstyle is the foundation by which the Castlevania series was built. However, if you'd like something a little different, Eric Lecard is equipped with a spear and has a new jump ability. Because this game has incorporated two playable characters who both have their own playstyle, there is reason to play through this journey multiple times. Each character will use their unique abilities to explore different parts of some of the levels, which is to say that each character's playthrough is not identical. Castlevania Bloodlines is a great time. If you haven't checked this game out yet, I highly recommend you do so now. Now we're going to take a dip into some controversial waters with Castlevania Legacy of Darkness coming in at number 4. Yes, I love this game. You very well may not love this game, and that's okay. Sometimes a game doesn't have to be a masterpiece for me to love it, and I do recognize that this game is far from being a masterpiece. In Legacy of Darkness, we actually have a total of 4 playable characters, although we have to beat the game first to unlock the other 3. Just like in Castlevania Bloodlines, each character has unique abilities, and with that, they all have their own path to Dracula. Legacy of Darkness really is a great game, but let me just clarify one thing. You may know this, you may not, but there are 2 Castlevania games for the Nintendo 64. The other game is simply titled Castlevania. When people think about how bad Castlevania is for the 64, they're usually thinking of this version. Both of these are basically the same game, but the first one has far less content and is pretty unpolished. Stick with Legacy of Darkness. By the way, one thing I hate about the Nintendo 64, besides a whole lot of things, is how dark every game is. Anytime I play the 64, I always have to blast the brightness on my TV. Just look at my capture footage on my computer compared to my actual TV. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. This video that you're watching right now would not exist without this next game. Coming in at number 3 is the original Castlevania for the NES. I've been playing this game since I was like, I don't know, 2 years old. I beat it for the very first time when I was 25. So yeah, it took me quite a while. The original Castlevania is actually a pretty short game, but considering how long it took me to beat it, it felt a lot bigger than it is. With great graphics, atmospheric music, tight controls, and one heck of a difficulty, it's no mystery how the success of this game launched Castlevania into the series we all know and love today. So if you loved Castlevania, then you'll probably also enjoy my next pick. Coming in at number 2 is Castlevania 3. It does everything the first game does, but more so. It's bigger, there are more levels, there are more enemies, there are more bosses, and you can play as 4 different characters, but this game is also a lot harder. Perhaps my only criticism of this game is that I do think the difficulty is maybe just a little unreasonable. I think it would have been fine if they had toned down the difficulty just a bit. It's not straight up cheap with poor design, like Battletoads, but this game could, and probably will, start to drive you crazy. There are 3 different routes to Dracula's castle, an easy, medium, and hard route. You'll know you've chosen the easy route if you've had a chance to take Sypha with you, and on that note, if you're new to this game, be sure to take her with you. Now, I love Nintendo Power, but they actually did me wrong once. In Volume 18, there's actually a pretty beefy Castlevania 3 guide. They say, and I quote, "For your first journey through Castlevania, we recommend finding Grant and keeping him with you until the end. As you gain more experience, you can try using the other spirits or even go alone." That is not good advice. Grant is not for beginners at all. Sypha, on the other hand, is much easier to play as. Like I said, she's great for beginners. And last, but certainly not least, Castlevania Symphony of the... It's actually not Symphony of the Night. Super Castlevania 4, coming in at number 1. I absolutely love Castlevania 4. I think the graphics are amazing, the soundtrack is just so hauntingly beautiful, the controls are perfect, and it's by no means a short game. There is a lot to see here. From the dilapidated mansion to the aquatic ancient ruins, every level is stunning in both sound and visuals. Everything just comes together so well and creates one of the most unforgettable games on the Super Nintendo. This Castlevania game is perhaps one of the easier in the series, but it's by no means an easy game. Considering how grueling Castlevania 3 is, I don't mind a slight change of pace. So there you have it, those are my 5 favorite Castlevania games. Why don't you tell me your 5 favorite Castlevania games down in the comments, or if you have a YouTube channel, why don't you make a response video? I want to thank you guys so much for watching, happy Halloween, and I'll see you in the next video. By the way, I do actually like Symphony of the Night, I do, I think it's a fantastic game. It's probably the only reason I ever turn on my PlayStation 1. I don't like PlayStation 1, I'll be honest. I don't like the console at all. Symphony of the Night is probably the only game I ever play on the PS1. But it's a great game, I do love it, I've beat it several times. It's just not one of my favorites.